The Shakespeare Sonnet Outage, a tale of high load and literary latency. A DevOps Postmortem. Sometimes, the most dramatic outages aren't caused by a single piece of bad code or a flaky dependency. Sometimes, they're caused by culture, by poetry. I'm talking about Google's Shakespeare Search service. Back in 2015, the entire service ground to a halt for a full 66 minutes. And the trigger? The discovery of a new sonnet. Seriously, it sounds like the premise of a comedy sketch, but this was a very real, high-stakes incident. This was the Shakespeare Search service. It existed to help people search through Shakespeare's works. Think historical literature meeting massive global traffic. Before the incident, the system was doing fine, but the context was key. The timing was absolutely critical. A newly discovered sonnet was causing a massive surge in public interest. This meant the system was expecting, or at least being hit by, an exceptionally high load. You've got your normal operation, and then suddenly, you hit jackpot status. The stress testing didn't account for poetic supernovae. The incident started when Boardman detected a high level of HTTP 500 errors and paged the on-call team. From a system perspective, this is standard. High error rate means something is broken. But what was actually broken? It was a combination of two things: massive load and a latent, underlying vulnerability in the search logic. The core problem was a resource leak. This leak was triggered specifically when the search failed because the new sonnet contained a word that had never before appeared in Shakespeare's catalog. The confluence of high load and this unique, corner case search query created a textbook cascading failure. When the alarm sounded, the immediate priority was keeping the lights on, even if the lights were flickering. The engineers implemented standard, aggressive mitigation techniques. They directed the traffic to a sacrificial cluster. This acts as a temporary sponge, pulling the immediate pressure off the main service. Crucially, they increase capacity tenfold. You don't just fix a leak, you need headroom. You need way more headroom. This initial response was all about survival and preventing a total service collapse. Let's get technical for a minute. The fundamental root cause wasn't just high load. It was a resource leak. The leak was a failure mode tied directly to the system's search indexing and logic. Specifically, when the system encountered a query of death scenario, which was triggered by the new, uncatalogued word, the resource wasn't properly cleaned up. As load continued, these small leaks accumulated, eventually leading to file descriptor exhaustion and, ultimately, the crash. You were fighting a leaky faucet with a fire hose. Solving this wasn't a quick patch. It was a multi-pronged effort. First, they had to deploy an updated index. This new index specifically resolved the interaction with the latent bug. Second, they addressed the leak directly by deploying a fix to the resource handling. And because they knew the public interest surge was going to last, they maintained extra capacity until the heat died down. It was a process of patch, stabilize, then survive the storm. So, what did Google take away from this expensive, poetic headache? A lot. The lessons aren't just increased capacity. They're about process and resilience. They realized they needed to treat catastrophic failure preparation with the same seriousness they treat a core API. Key actions included updating the playbook for cascading failures and, get this, implementing mechanisms to quickly update search indexes with popular new terms. They also learned the hard way to use robust load balancing, or what they humorously termed a flux capacitor for managing traffic flow between clusters. And finally, make sure your server logs are giving you clear stack traces, because file descriptor exhaustion is a nightmare to debug. At the end of the day, this incident teaches you that operational excellence isn't just about making your service work under normal load. It's about anticipating the corner case, the high load, the strange input, the cultural phenomenon, and having the playbooks ready. Never assume a corner case can't happen. You might need to allocate capacity for a literary supernova. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, always plan for the poetic disaster. If this saved you an outage, subscribe for the next postmortem.